Yay, we're recording. How's it going, guys? It's so good to see all of your faces. My Wi-Fi is a little weird still. We just ordered a new box thing, so hopefully that comes tomorrow and it'll make my Wi-Fi better. But if I'm patchy, that's why. But Megan and I wanted to talk about a lot of things just surrounding coach recruitment and the vital process, which I'm going to go ahead and explain for you guys if you don't really know what that means. But I mean, there are two main parts to the business, right? Like, we are constantly looking to get challengers signed up, clients of ours. We want to help them with our health journey or with their health journey as we're working on our health journey, which is so awesome that we get to do that all at the same time. And then the other side of things is once your coaches start eventually getting their, friends and family and other people involved around them, they'll eventually want to start working the business too. And so we as coaches get to coach them on being coaches, right? And that's what we're doing with you guys. And honestly, it's my favorite part of the business because we get to work closely with you guys and become friends with you guys, and it's just the best. So I'm going to start out and explain. Lola's right by me. Say hi to Lola. She hears a car outside. But okay, so the vital process is basically, when you hear Jamie and Steve talking on all of our team calls about staying in phase one, what does that mean? That is the vital process, because when you stay in this beginner's mindset of starting out and getting people results, that's your goal every single month. What naturally ends up happening, and this has happened on our team with so many people, and I absolutely love seeing that. But what naturally happens is as we are filling our cup up and as our clients are filling their cups up from all of the tools we're providing with these programs and with the health, everything, you just naturally end up wanting to help other people. And I'm sure so many of you are here because of that reason. You probably didn't necessarily sign up in order to coach. I know some of you did, but Hannah, for example, we were just talking about her before this call. Hannah Van Dyke has an incredible story because she signed up last, I think, November or something. And when she signed up, she had no intention to be a coach ever or work the business. But me being me, I just offer the coach opportunity to everybody. And I kept messaging her and pushing her and saying girl, you'd be such a good coach. Look at your journey. You're killing it. And all you have to do is, from that overflowing cup now of taking care of yourself is start helping other people around you and literally just sharing it, right? It's so much fun. And so now she's a coach and she's been coaching and been really consistent and hitting amazing goals in her business over the past few months. And I know that she had no intention of that. So that is the example of the vital process. And why I'm sharing this with you guys, and it's hopefully to give you encouragement that if you're not recruiting a bunch of business builders and people alongside of you who want to work the business, the vital process comes into play so heavy that of course, no, you don't want to let go of recruiting other coaches to work the business alongside of you, but just know that the vital process happens naturally as you're building your business. So the more clients and the more challengers you can get on board every single month, the more likely, one out of those people or three out of those people, just depending on the numbers you're bringing in, are naturally either in their second month as a client of yours or their third month or sixth month, you never know. But eventually they're going to come out of the woodwork and be oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm getting, these kind of results. I'm feeling really good. And I love this community. Give me more. What do I do? And then that's where you can come in and help them become a coach or help them start their coaching journey. But another thing, with every single one of your clients and challengers, always give them that opportunity, even if they're not ready yet, because you seeing that potential in them is going to give them such a boost and a push for, months later on down the road when they are getting that little nudge or that thought comes up in their head and they're ooh, coaching, could I do this? Maybe not. You your voice will come back in their head and it'll motivate them and empower them to think that maybe they can do this, because I think that's the number one thing holding most of us back. And that's what held me back when I first started, was thinking that I wasn't good enough or I wasn't fit enough or I didn't have enough followers. We just believe all these negative things and then we let that stop us from taking action. So the more that you can just fill up these people that you're working with, your clients, your challengers cups, and encourage them to do the same thing, encourage them to start reading PD, like doing the behaviors of coaches, that it's like that natural progression, vital process will happen. And they'll be like, hey girl, like I'm ready. I want to coach right alongside you. But the cool thing, like what we wanted to talk a little bit more about, is there are tangible ways to also recruit coaches, recruit people who are like specifically intentioned on building the business. And you don't know when those people, those clients or challengers are going to come out of the woodwork. And so it's really important to also be recruiting coaches every single month to your team, because like I said, you just don't know. You don't know when people are going to be ready, and it's not our job to bank on people. Like that's not what this business is about. You can never make your emerald goal or your diamond goal about someone else, about your coaches and their job to, like rank advance or something. It's always you. You need to figure out what can I do? How many people can I recruit? How many girls can I help hit emerald in order to hit my goal of diamond? And so the more that you can stay in that mindset of just abundance and constant growth, then the more your team is going to grow as fast as you want it to, and your business is going to grow at that pace too. So Megan is going to go over like tangible things and ways you can actually start recruiting coaches like now instead of waiting on people. So go.
So I have two kind of, I'll say like big ideas or things that you can do consistently that can help grow your business tenfold. And the first is something we can do every single day. So goal is to make 3 to 5 posts per day on whatever social media platform you're using. And it sounds like a lot, but the way that these things work, and how like this, like whatever the algorithm thing is, keeps changing. We can't bank on that. If we're lucky, maybe somebody who follows us sees one of our 3 posts per day. And so super important to breadcrumb coaching snippets into whatever you share as far as coaching goes, and making sure we share it consistently and every single day. So what can, breadcrumbs be? Maybe it's, talking about your hesitation. Something I talk about a lot is how I didn't trust these programs, but then I started showing up as a coach, and I show up for my clients and my customers before I'd show up for myself in previous programs. So how having clients of your own can help you in your own physical journey. You can talk about, how you didn't think it was real, but what made you commit in the first place. How many months or weeks did you follow your coach and watch them continue and crush it from the sideline before you started to join? So those are some hesitations you can talk about as far as breadcrumbing goes, but throwing little snippets in, sharing your landmarks. Like if you're a new Emerald coach, talk about how you hit your first milestone in this business and that you're helping other people go through it. Talking about how you've opened your business. If you, have made your first paycheck, talking about what did you do with that extra money? And you don't have to say the amount. I would suggest not saying the amount, but what did that help you do? Like for me, my coaching income has helped support my student loan payments so many times. And that is just something that then allows me to, start saving for our wedding, or Ryan and I can go get a massage or have a date night together because of my coaching income. And we can do it more frequently because of that. Talking about how your life has transformed since you've been a part of this community. Where were you before? What were you struggling with? Sharing your story is so important. And how has coaching helped you become where you are today? And, what were some of the little obstacles that you had to cover along the way? So, goals for, I think, everybody, if we're shooting for 3 to 5 posts per day, is snippeting something about coaching in a post per day, as well as in your stories. And maybe you just snippet your miracle morning with all of the coaches or clients on there. Or maybe you talk about your team call tonight, but doing it consistently. Or maybe you sit down and you say, in your stories, you can talk about how you're able to connect with people from all across the world because of this community. Things like that consistently, though. Consistency is the key in this business, and it's doing these things every single day. So breadcrumbing is like part 1. Posts, stories, Facebook page, whatever you're using. breadcrumbing things about coaching consistently. Second thing I want to talk about is a coach workshop. You can call it so many different things. I've had like coach snoop groups, sneak peek into coaching, become a coach workshop. Leanna, yours was choose better workshop.
Yeah.
So you can call it whatever you want. You can call it like weekend with Megan. Let's hang out. Whatever you want to call it, but actively scheduling these times where you have a place to invite people to learn more about it. So, you're chatting with somebody and you think they'd be an awesome coach, and you tell them that, you invite them to join this coaching opportunity, like, oh, well, can you give me more information? And then it's like, you don't want to worry about it. We've all been there. But if you don't have a video set that you can send them with everything, say, hey, you know what? I've got this, Snoop group into coaching this weekend. It's free, no strings. I'm just sharing everything there is to know. Like, can I add you to it? Or do you want to be added to it? Or would you be open to learning more about it? Let me plug you into this Facebook group. Rarely are people going to say no to wanting to learn more about something or be open for something. And then I would actually, let me get this down for you guys, is recommend scheduling them. So I have some scheduled every single weekend throughout January. And it's as simple as, oops, that's going to fall down, going live in a Facebook group. Team up with another coach, maybe if you're like, I got a crazy weekend and I can't be consistent with when I'm going to be available to do this. Team up with another coach. It can be as simple as one video per person. You just hop in live, you share your stories, sharing, your journey. What did your coach say to you that resonated, that made you be like, I really think I want to do this. I really think I can do this. I believe in this programs and this community. What did your coach say to you that resonated? Or what did your coach post about? Leah and I were just talking that for us, it was when Carly was able to quit her first job. And we were like, that's what I want with my life. Because for me, I'm showing up to a job I don't love anymore. So sharing about that, sharing about, what could this opportunity be for you? And being as open as you can be with your story, your struggles, your journey. So I'm going to share my screen for just a second and just show you guys what this could look like. It's an older group. Let me share real quick. I've got 4 open right now because I was like, oh, which one do I want to show you guys? Share this. Can you see? Cool. So this is what I'm revamping this weekend. I'm using the same group and I'll keep the cover the same for now. Sometimes I change the cover photo. I will go through and I will delete all of these videos. I've already started inviting people to it. So somebody's about to join it for this weekend. And it's so simple, guys. Running these every single week, and team up with 1 or 2 other people. You can team up with 4 other people if you want. But I have this is out of order now, but a welcome post. And in it, just sharing, I'm so excited. Let's get to know each other a little bit. Ask them a few questions. Where are you from? What do you do for work? Do you have any experience with these programs? And these questions have changed from time to time. But getting some engagement, it's 7 comments here. I think I only had a handful of people actually active in this group. So many people are flies on the walls, which is okay because every time you post a new video in here, they're learning more about it. They're being reminded of this opportunity and that it's there and available for them. Reminders of when I'm going to go live and share some videos. And all I do is I really hop in and I share 3 videos. They're out of order. Notice that it's nothing fancy. But take it seriously though. Have notes out. Know what you want to talk about. I usually pull up some notes on my computer so I can talk straight from there. But I share my story, which should be here somewhere. Yeah, there it is at the bottom. My journey. So where was I before coaching started? What did I struggle with? What were my hesitations? How I didn't believe in this community. And I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't like home workout programs. I was the worst person coming into it. But then I share how that's transformed for me. Then I go through a day in the life, which is where I talk about the vital behaviors. I talk about how I do personal development every morning. I talk about how I connect with people, whether it's my clients or prospective prospective clients. I talk about how I share this with my coworkers. I invite my friends to join me because I have fallen in love with these programs and they work and they're sustainable for a long-term solution. Then I go through how to get started. Basically, you invest in yourself, so the finances of it, and a Q&A if there's any questions, talking about how brain fart. Oh, it's a $160 investment into yourself. You're investing in your programs. And I've played around with that because it's all about failing forward. Here's a Q&A and how to get started. Basically, let me know you want to start it. So that's one that I've kept going where whenever I'm doing one, which is basically weekly for the rest of 2019, is I plug people in there. I go through this similar process. Things change from week to a week a little bit. You can also team up with other people. So this is one teamed up with a few weeks ago with some of the other coaches. And we all shared our stories. We all shared a client testimonial. So, and just change it, but shared a client success story and their journey. And then we did a Zoom call, just like you guys were on this call right now. We had a scheduled time that we let people know about ahead of time. We recorded it and we went live and we just talked about different aspects and we opened it for questions and answers at the end. So many ways that you can get this information to people. So those are through Facebook groups. You can also do, I've tried, a series of stories throughout the day where I'll be like, okay, on Friday, I'm going to give you guys a behind the scenes glimpse of what I do as a coach. And I take them through, oh, I'm reading my personal development. Oh, look, I'm plugging into my miracle morning. I'm checking into my accountability group. I'm sending emails with my clients. I'm connecting with my coaches. Here's our catching up on a team call and a team training. So covering all of those things in a series of stories in one day. You can do a live video where you sit and you just explain everything coaching, save it to your IGTV. That's not easy to say. But the biggest, I would say, thing with these coach workshops is inviting people to join them and having a plan, knowing when you're going to host them, knowing what you're going to say. And that really goes back to what Leanna's going to talk about in a second about staying in this idea of phase one, where we fail forward, but we do it over and over and over again. Host them weekly, team up with somebody. And I think it's hard for us as coaches to share a lot about coaching because we feel like we are just bombarding people with it. And we don't want to overwhelm them. And we don't want to just be so in your face. But we kind of have to be because they're not going to see everything that you share. I don't know. I never was on social media before coaching. And so if somebody were to post a story, I would miss it every 3 days or so. I would maybe see what their story is. And so showing up every day with that. And then, outside of coaching, people don't know what it is. So it's part of our job to share it with them. What is it that we do? And hopefully that gave you guys some inspiration. And Leanna's going to wrap it up for us.
Another thing I just wanted to add in is if you're really struggling with what to say during these coach workshops, I would always just ask myself really good questions. Put yourself in the person on the other end's, perspective. Put yourself in your client or wannabe coach's perspective and say why, did I sign up? What changed? Why am I better off now? And for me, when I was pushing for Diamond last year, that's really when I started making a lot of these changes and hosting a lot of these coach workshops and things really consistently because I wanted to get the word out there. And I realized wow, this is such a cool, incredible opportunity. And so what really changed for me was sharing with people the big things about coaching that were super deep for me, why I really, really, really loved this and believed in this and wanted, other people to become coaches because of how it changed my life. And so that's why, like Megan said, I would call it the Choose Better workshop because I felt like coaching teaches you how to choose better in all areas of life for yourself. And when I first started, doing my program, I learned how to choose better for my health. And then when you start coaching, you're like, oh, I'm going to choose better for my mental health, reading PD. I'm going to choose better for my finances by planning and investing into a business and, you know, understanding that like, oh, I could like go out and make $40 if I sold this challenge back. Or, you know, I can choose better for my family by creating really intentional time with me and my husband or me and my parents, or I don't know, like coaching just in all aspects, like changed my life. And so that that is what you need to share with people, like those deep reasons of like why and how it's changing your life. And like Megan said, just like be unafraid to fail, because failure is growth. Like every single time you fail, every time you don't hit a goal, maybe you have a goal of getting like 50 people in this coach workshop. Hey, if you get like 45 or 30, like it's better than none, right? And one of those people could be your person. So never like settle for less, and never decide that if, you know, if I only get 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people in this coach workshop, it's just not worth doing. Because think about that one, like what if you were the one on the other end and like you change somebody's life just by like hosting this coach workshop. So don't be afraid to fail, like team up with each other, and know like there's 1,000,001 different ways to do this. And most of the things that we are doing as coaches today and like what we're teaching you guys to do was created by another coach in the network back when there was no trainings and no support and no help. Like the coach workshop or sneak peek thing, that was created by a coach like who was confused and struggling and wanted to get more coaches on their team but didn't know how. So get creative with it and like come up with a solution that you think would help your kind of person and your like future team someday to like actually want to sign up and become a coach, because whatever you resonate with, like your person and your people are probably going to resonate with too. So remember, like the vital process comes into play. So don't freak out if you have a couple coach sneak peeks or workshops that aren't super successful. And if you can just constantly stay in that phase 1 mindset, that mindset of like, I'm going to be the best challenger possible, because that represents what I want my challengers to be. And if my challengers are being really great challengers and they're showing up for their health routine and they are, you know, crushing their workouts and killing it at their nutrition, they're going to start to feel so freaking good that they're going to eventually want to become a coach. And that's like what Jamie and Steve always say is like your best coaches were your best clients, and your best challengers are your best future coaches. So just always keep that in mind, and then use these things to try and recruit some awesome coaches alongside of you. That's all we got. So if you guys have any questions, I think there was one in the chat. Let's see.
Yeah, so Brianne said, is this your approach for people who haven't had bod or challenge packs? That's my approach for both. If they have enrolled and I think they'd be an incredible coach, I get them plugged in there. If they never have and I just reached out to them and I think they'd be an incredible coach or they seem interested in it, I'll plug them in there, because I mean, everybody can use the same information about it, because it's this, it's ambiguous, right word there, where it's like, if you're not a part of it, it's not really clear what it is. And it's our job as coaches to start sharing with people what it is we do and how like we're no different than anybody else. We just have fallen in love with taking care of ourselves and helping others do the same.
Another thing that has really helped me, I just thought of this, and like has been game changing in all of my sneak peeks, is sharing the like coach PDF I created a while ago. And I literally just copied what Carly did, but I just pulled this up on Canva. So I'm just going to share my screen with you guys. And I'm pretty sure I put this in our team page files section. So you guys can do the same thing, like and copy and make your own, but it's like, you know, your journey as opposed to mine. But this is what I made. And actually, I think over the summer I would have one-on-ones with people that were interested in coaching, and I would just hop on Zoom like this, and I would share my screen and explain my story kind of like this way. You got, like, maybe some of you have seen this before, but it just kind of helps me to keep a focus when I'm explaining my story, because I get nervous when I'm like talking in person with people and I'm like, oh crap, like what do I say? So this helped me a lot. And like sometimes I'll just take a video of this in my coach workshops, and it really helps people get the sense of like what coaching looks like. So I talk about my health obviously beforehand, and then my life beforehand. So jobs I was working, living situation, college dropout, stagnant pay, losing my yoga practice, and then afterwards. So like this is like coaching halo. Oh. And then what do coaches do? Literally copied this from like the other PDF I found. So get results, share your story, coach prep course, month 2, run a fitness group, always inspire others to follow vital behaviors. And then like these are just the vital behaviors broken down. And then, you know, use your passion, be unique. No, like Beachbody's the only fitness company to include the complete solution, nutrition, accountability, workouts, and then explaining the coaches, how to start, your basic fitness package. So this can be a really helpful tool to use. If you guys have ever read GoPro, the author talks a lot about using tools to like help share opportunities with people. So don't be afraid to like get behind some tools that are really awesome. Find some awesome videos. If you are really struggling to take one of yourself, like there's always a way, you know. What else?
So Sydney said, I'm in the middle of my story. How can I help others while talking from my own perspective if I'm not on the other side of the transformation yet? I think we're never finished with that transformation. And so it's super important to share, where were you before you said yes? What were you struggling with before you said yes? And why do you continue to show up, whether it's your personal fitness journey or on these calls or within the team pages? Nobody's ever at their end goal, because their goals are continually transforming. And so sharing that, and, you know, speaking for myself, is where I am in my coaching business is not where I intend to end. And I think wherever I intend to end is going to continue changing. And so just sharing where I was before coaching, what were my hesitations, why I decided to say yes to the community, why I decided to say yes to coaching, and where am I now, is just like a complete transformation, but it's not finished yet.
Yeah, and same thing goes for like your health journey too. Like we're never gonna be at our perfect physique or whatever. Like that's not even attainable. And like for a long time that held me back from sharing the whole health side of things, because I was like, I'm not like fit enough, I'm not perfect. And it's just like people aren't impressed by perfect bodies. They're impressed by consistency. They're impressed by seeing you show up and sweat it out every single day, and seeing you struggle and pushing through and deciding to not give up. So like if you can do that with your health, and if you can do that in your coaching business too. I remember like there was a post I made last year and it like did really well. And I was just like in my kitchen cooking dinner while also listening to the team call on Monday night with Team Fight to Finish. And so many people like were interested in that. And I had posted about how like I'm just a multitasker, and like I'm always doing a million things at once because I don't like have time during the day to work my coaching business. But it resonated with so many people because other people are busy, you know, and I was showing up and willing to make those sacrifices, willing to cook dinner and like hop on the team call at the same time. So like, don't be afraid to show the struggle and like the behind the scenes of like the not so perfect and pretty. Like, it's funny because you guys being in like a struggle or like you're not yet of whatever your story is almost more inspiring to people because they're in that same place. Like they're in the trenches with you. Whereas if you see this perfect body, perfect life, perfect house, whatever, like it just seems so unattainable that people aren't inspired to like want to actually go after it. But like if you're down in the trenches with them, they're like, oh, like we could hold hands and do this together, as opposed to like me just like doing what you tell me to do and like never thinking that I'm ever going to get there. So it's like a perspective shift, but you guys are more inspiring than you think. Anybody else have any last questions? We have no timer now.
Guys, we can hang out all night long.
I'm down. Currently sweating, so
Yep.
just yay. Well, go set up a plan for what you're going to do this weekend. I know I'm hosting a coach workshop with a few of you. Yeah, and it's a process too, like in the whole like not there yet. It's totally a process to accept where you're at and like to love yourself there too. So
yes, if you're a new coach, go join the new coach call.
oh yeah, it's starting right now, 5 minutes ago.
Just started. Maybe I'll see some of you guys on there because I just love listening to these. It's a great reminder of everything. Well, thanks for hanging out. Hopefully you guys found this helpful.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Bye.